Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse at Manchester United, we've now got this breaking news late on that Jose Mourinho will be sacked as Manchester United manager this weekend or early next week, regardless of the result against Newcastle this weekend. Gary Neville has come out, he's furious about it. It's come from the Daily Mirror. This is where it's come from. Somebody called Mr. McDonald, I'll call him, I think his name is. But the reality is that this same journalist, a couple of days before the FA Cup final, said that Van Gaal was going to be sacked regardless of the result of the FA Cup. So there may be some credibility in that. It's chaotic. It is a mess. It is ridiculous. And the reason Gary Neville is furious is because of the way the club is being run. He says that, this club has been my life, but this is not about sacking a manager. It goes way, way above that. And I think Gary Neville's right. I think Gary Neville is right. I think there is so many things. I mean, I was just literally about to go to bed. I just had a little game of FIFA, relaxed, just about to go to bed, and a few people contacted me saying that this had gone off. So I've looked into it, and I think, you know what? This is just typical of Manchester United. This is how Manchester United do this. With David Moyes, it was leaked before it actually happened. With Van Gaal, it was leaked before it happened. And with Jose Mourinho, it's been leaked before it's going to happen. I felt with the press conference this morning, there was something very odd about that. And we've had odd press conferences from Jose Mourinho before, but he was asked the question, have you got a message for the fans about how you're going to turn this around? Didn't answer. When asked about why is it going wrong, there's many reasons. It was it felt like a very resignation press conference, which for me was very weird because I've always felt we'll beat Newcastle tomorrow, and if we beat Newcastle tomorrow, he won't be sacked. Now, personally, I think he needs to leave Manchester United. I've been saying that for a week or so. I think I don't know the real reasons what's gone on, but it's abundantly clear that he's lost the players. He looks disinterested. He wasn't backed in the summer. It's a mess. It's a mess. And ultimately, the way football works, I know what Gary Neville's saying, I know what other people are saying, but the way football works, you're judged on the football pitch, and the football's not being good enough. And I think even if you gave Jose Mourinho even more money and you backed him, you still wouldn't get better football on the pitch. And that in itself is the problem at Manchester United. In the immediacy we have is the football's not good enough. So he does need to go. I agree with that. But the bigger thing, the way the club's been dealt with since Sir Alex Ferguson went, the shambles of the summer we've just had, that is something separate and that is something bigger. And I also think that what I did say is that I have felt empathy towards Jose Mourinho. He is a manager that I respect. He is one of the best managers in the world, and it's just terribly gone wrong at Manchester United. And I think he does need to go. He does need to go for himself. He needs to go for us. Was he ever settled at Manchester United, living out of a hotel? It's just been a shambles. It's not a total shambles, but it's not gone the way he wanted it. It's not gone the way we wanted it to go. So I think it's right that he's going to go. But I don't think he deserves to be treated like this. I don't think he deserves to be sacked by media. And if that is what's going to happen, and it is still a big if, I still think what you're going to get tomorrow as well, by the way, by leaking this to the media, what you will get tomorrow, and quite rightly you'll get Manchester United, Old Trafford, absolutely behind Jose Mourinho. Now, whether this is a club tactic to get fans behind Mourinho or not, maybe it's all a big ploy. Maybe it's all a big ploy to twist fan opinion, because at the end of the day, most fans wanted Mourinho to go. If they see this tonight before the game, maybe it will get the fans behind Mourinho, and maybe it's a very clever ploy by the club to do that. But ultimately, I think it will be short-lived, because I just don't think the football's going to improve. I don't think the players are behind him, and I think the decision to sack Mourinho, if it is going to happen, is based on correct decisions. That he has lost the dressing room, that the players aren't playing for him, that the football isn't good enough. But what will happen tomorrow, quite rightly, is the fans will cheer his name. The fans will back Mourinho because they won't like the way the club have done it again. It's cowardly to do it via media, to leak it through the media before he's even sacked, to make Jose Mourinho have to walk out tomorrow and manage Manchester United knowing he's going to be sacked. It's ridiculous. It's not unprecedented. I remember Man City doing it to Mark Hughes years ago. There was rumours before a Man City game that he was going to be sacked. He played through the game. He probably knew he was going to get sacked. And lo and behold, he was sacked afterwards. And I think they may have won that game as well. But can it change? Will it happen? I don't know. But I just think we are becoming a bit of an embarrassment as a club. I think if they don't sack him now, it makes it look ridiculously weird what's happened tonight. I think there's too much going on. I've looked around on social media. We had Philip Brown, who's from America, Sirius. He's tweeted out tonight saying that He has had it on good authority that Mourinho wants to go, and it will take a payoff to go. That is something to bear in mind. It might not just be a sacking, it might be an amicable split, because if Mourinho is sacked, he gets a big payout. And if you're Jose Mourinho and you know you can't turn this around, maybe he's just said, I want to go as well. So it might not be a sacking. It might be an amicable parting of the ways where United just go, this isn't working, is it? And he's gone, it's not working, because he's going to get a lot of money from it as well. And Jose Mourinho doesn't look happy. I don't think Jose Mourinho has looked happy at Manchester United for a long, long time. So that might be something else. That might be another angle here that maybe will come out in the wash. Maybe he's going to be sacked. Maybe it's amicable, or maybe he's going to stay. But there's a lot of rumours around tonight in the press that he will leave Manchester United in the next few days. Personally, I think it's right from a footballing decision, but I totally agree with what Gary Neville has said tonight, that the bigger picture at Manchester United is one that is very worrying. And you get things like Antonio Conte being mentioned tonight. I mean, what the hell is that all about? If we get Conte in, that's worse than Mourinho as far as I'm concerned. I don't want Conte. You go and get Zidane. You get Pochettino. You get Jardim. You get Laurent Blanc. You get something with an identity of attacking football. Do not go and get another Chelsea manager that's been sacked. Don't do it. Don't do it. Go and get somebody who is at the top of their game, and that's what needs to happen. I mean, James Munford said he was very quiet in his press conference today. Of course he was. Please do drop a like on the video. It is very, very late, but this is what we do on the United Stand. It doesn't matter. It's nearly midnight here. I've got up to do the video for you, which is absolutely fine. But please do drop a like on the video and get involved. I still think we'll play tomorrow. I mean, Shane Brown says all Jose needs to do is change the way we're playing football, but I think Shane, that ship has sailed, to be honest with you. You're asking a manager to change his philosophy of the last 15 years. He was never the right fit for Manchester United in hindsight, was he? We hoped he would deliver titles. That's not going to happen, but we knew his standard of football wasn't good enough. So if you're joining me a little bit late, there's a load of news around the UK tonight. News outlets that Jose Mourinho will be sacked as Manchester United manager, or he will leave. Maybe sacked is an unfair word. Over this weekend, regardless of the result tomorrow. This is going to make for a very, very interesting atmosphere at Old Trafford tonight. Gary Neville has certainly not held back on Sky Sports. He is putting the blame firmly at the board and the ownership. I think that's probably the last chance Gary Neville's got of being anything to do with Manchester United in the future. But very, very angry about it. Said he was angry a few years ago when David Moyes was sacked. And the way the club's being run is a disgrace. He's totally right about that. I've always disagreed with him about the David Moyes sacking. I think that David Moyes needed to go. I disagree with him about Jose Mourinho. I think he needs to go as well. They're not the right sort of manager for Manchester United. But he is 100% right about the way the board are running our club. And you know what? Gary Neville's a very successful businessman. I'm sure he knows a lot of people who are very successful, rich people who may well be Manchester United fans who maybe could do a takeover. Because at this stage, yes, sacking Mourinho is the right thing to do. But who's to say that, as Ryan Giggs said, who's to say in 2 years' time we won't be in the same position again? The worrying thing is that we could be in the same position again because we're being run so badly. I think 3 of the managers that have come in since after Sir Alex Ferguson have been the wrong sort of manager. We've got to get it right. But I don't even know if this is going to be true or not. I don't know whether this is going to be true or not. I think there's going to be a lot of very angry Manchester United fans one way or the other with this. If he is sacked over the weekend, the way it's been dealt with again is embarrassing. If he isn't sacked over the weekend, a lot of people are going to get their hopes up very, very high, and it's very, very embarrassing. I mean, I tell you what, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea fans will be praying to God that it's not true that he's going to leave, because they know that we're in trouble. We are in trouble, and we're going to continue in trouble under this management. But you've always got to look at the bigger picture. You've always got to look at what's best for Manchester United. And I think, yes, sacking the manager is the right thing to do in relation to what's going on the pitch. But what's going off the pitch is far, far more important. And I do worry. I've been worrying about it for a long time. You lot worry about it. It is a worry. Let's take some of your comments. The board needs to be sacked, says Dull. Yeah, getting rid of the board is going to be very, very difficult. Very difficult indeed. But we should get that manager that was at Bayern Munich last year, says Don. We desperately need a director of football, says Kimani. Sack him because there's still a chance for us to catch up with the league leaders, says Meshach. Look, Meshach's right. If we look at this from a simple football perspective, we're 7 games into the Premier League. It's only the start of October. if you get a new manager in, you get these players playing, we can still get top 4. Yes, we can rescue that. But beyond that, I still look. We had Mad Marcus on the other day, didn't he? And he was telling me off because I said I feel sorry for Mourinho. I still think he needs to go, but I feel sorry for him. He looks like a broken man, and I'm an empathetic human being, and I do feel sorry for him. And he was like, "Don't feel sorry for him. He's brought it on himself." I do feel sorry for him, and I feel even more sorry for him tonight because I mean, there's got to be. You know what? You know when I literally have just gone out of bed, was watching a bit of telly, and had the phone went off, and I looked at it, and I was like, right, it must be a load of nonsense. Then I looked at more and more, and I made a couple of calls, and there's something's gone off. Something has gone off, and how angry Gary Neville is, that to me is an angry person because he knows as well something's about to go off. So something is going to go off, and whilst I think the decision is right, the way it's been handled again is poor. It's really poor. It's really disrespectful, and I don't think Mourinho deserves that. I know I'm talking about him as if he is going to go. There is a chance that he could still stay, but if he does go, I think he's done a better job than Van Gaal and Moyes, 100%. He won us a Europa League, he won us a Carabao Cup, he got a second in the league, which is the best position we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson left. The football, the behaviour, the thing after Sevilla, the FA Cup final, over the last 8 months, it's gone very toxic and it's gone very wrong. And I think the Alexis Sanchez signing probably will be the signing that destroyed Mourinho, because if you look at us, all right, we weren't going to win the league because we lost to City, but in the December, but we were doing quite well. We had a bit of momentum, and then Sanchez came in and it all fell apart. But I think since Sanchez has come, and a lot of other things as well, that's where it's gone toxic. The summer was an absolute disaster. And don't underestimate his behaviour in America. That will have hurt the shareholders and the board a lot. When he was in America and he was saying, I don't know why fans are bothering to come, we don't really want to be here, and he was ultra negative, and Liverpool are having a massive positive tour of America and people are starting to support Liverpool, that will have gone down like a lead balloon. So there's a lot of things that Mourinho has done to contribute to this, and I think you've got to be very, very careful to just look. I agree with the frustration of what Gary Neville has said about the board 100%, but also I don't think it's as clear cut as going, the board are evil, Jose Mourinho has been treated badly. Jose Mourinho has 100% contributed to his own downfall. We all know that. The Sevilla press conference, the way he's acted over the summer, the public admonishments of players, the results, the football. He's done more than enough to get sacked. And I think if he was at Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, he would have been sacked. But the sad thing at Manchester United is you don't just look at a sacking, you look at the board as well. And that is the mess that Manchester United have at the moment. The board will keep him on until the end of the season. If he beats Newcastle, he'll be safe with the board, says Benjamin Davies. I actually agree with you, Benjamin. I cannot see how they'll sack him if we beat Newcastle tomorrow. But this is the rumour that this is going to happen. And it might well be. The only thing I think about this is that if he goes after we've beaten Newcastle, then it's not a sacking, it's an amicable thing where the board and Mourinho have had a chat and both of them have decided that it's time to part ways. And that's what Phil De Bruyne was saying on Twitter. And I can get it up, I'll get the tweet for you now, because I know what the Daily Mirror are saying, and I know that journalist has been reliable before. But Phil Brown on Twitter, you can follow him at Malachians. He has said that with regards to Mourinho, I've been told he has let it be known that he wants out and would welcome a payoff at this point. That is what Phil is saying. So that is not a sacking. That would be, and I think that fits better than a sacking. I think that, and he was also asked, you trust your source 200%, and is the source reliable? Extremely. Well, I know Phil. He was on the United Stand a few weeks ago. You all loved the show. It was on a Friday night about 3 weeks ago. He has got contacts within the club. He has got sources within the club. And if he is saying that to me isn't a sacking. That is Jose Mourinho going to the board and saying, look, I'll go if you pay me off. And I think that fits in. That fits in. It doesn't fit in with the agenda that people want to put out there, that the board have sacked him and they're a disgrace. It fits in with Jose Mourinho's press conference today. He looks defeated. He's looked defeated for a long time. I think he came out after the West Ham game and he looked like he'd been crying. He's lost that dressing room. Jose Mourinho's story, if he leaves Manchester United, will continue. All I would say, because it won't matter to me anymore, because he's not Manchester United manager, but all I would say about Jose Mourinho is, why did you never learn your lessons of Chelsea? You lost your first dressing room with Chelsea, and you got the sack for the first time. I thought at Manchester United, you never make the same mistake twice. And if he does go, it will be because he's lost the dressing room again. I want to take some of your comments on this. I know it's very, very late, but please do drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I really do want to take some of your comments. No sympathy, got to be ruthless. Mourinho out, says Black God. Rafa Benitez or Darren Ferguson says Glue, don't know what he's on. There's no way back for Mourinho and everyone's lost belief in him, says Nathan Muir. I think you will see a very interesting thing tomorrow at the ground, though. I think the fans will be... They will resonate with what Gary Neville has said about the board, and they will take it out on the board, and they will be very, very frustrated with the board, and they will probably sing Mourinho's name. But there's something wrong with that. I don't want to use the word I was going to use because it's disrespectful, but there's something wrong with that, because if you start chanting Mourinho's name because you're pissed off with the board, you're totally and utterly ignoring the fact that Mourinho set the tactics. Mourinho has said what he's done. Mourinho has publicly slated players. I just think make your protest against the board because they're crap. I don't think you need to go Jose Mourinho, because there's something weirdly odd about that, because Mourinho deserves to leave Manchester United. He's contributed to it more than himself. Yes, the board are a big, massive problem, but to go to the game tomorrow and start chanting Mourinho's name, you're doing it to be defiant to the board when actually he does need to go. But there does need to be some reaction to the board as well, because that's a mess. Keep the same energy. Jose has to go, unfortunately, says RC1ROM. So Pogba has won. Neo Rain says this channel should be ashamed of itself. I'd love to know why, mate. I'm more than happy to answer your question, but I don't really know why we should be ashamed of ourselves. We're going live on a story that's all over the press. We're a Manchester United fan channel, and our priority is Manchester United. Glazers out, Woodward out, Jose out, says Afaf. We're not going to lose the Glazers, and we're not going to lose Woodward. But I think the next appointment, if they do sack Jose Mourinho, they've got to get it right. They've got to get this decision right. It's got to be. Like I say, it's got to be a Laurent Blanc, it's got to be a Zidane, it's got to be a Pochettino, and it's got to be a director of football, and it's got to work. It's got to work, because if it doesn't work this time, God knows where we'll go with it. Publicly trashing his players is what has cost him the respect of the dressing room, says Jeff Doherty. I think that is that is correct. I think that is correct. I think that there is obviously another side to this coin, and I think that is right. I've just been referred to check something else on Twitter, which I'm going to do. There's just talk about... I mean, it just could be... It could just be a load of nonsense. There might not be anything in it. But... There are rumours that Jose Mourinho and George Mendes met with Ed Woodward in London at 8 o'clock tonight, and that's why there was an early press conference this morning. Remember that early press conference this morning as well. That doesn't normally happen. The press conference has happened at 11 o'clock in the morning. It normally happens at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but this morning it happened at 8 o'clock. If there is in the morning, and if Mourinho has met Ed Woodward in London with George Mendes tonight at 8 o'clock, that could be for a severance. That could be a severance package. So you can't keep a secret around Manchester United. Manchester United's always been a sieve. You can't keep a secret around Manchester United, and I just think there's no smoke without fire. And you know what? The Daily Mirror article, that's all fine and well, but what I would go with, and I would tell you to follow him on Twitter because he's brilliant with transfers and as well, is at Malakian's Phil Brown. I would go with him. What he's saying there is that that Mourinho and Manchester United have basically decided that's the end of the road, and Mourinho's happy to go if he gets a payout. And I do believe that. I don't know what you think. I do believe that. I think that Jose Mourinho has had enough. I think he's been I don't think Mourinho's in love with football anymore after what happened at Chelsea, and I think he thought he'd come to Manchester United and his brilliance would be good enough, but it's just not worked out. Jose, something tells me I'm on something good. No Mourinho on my mind. If they appoint Carrick, significant chance they will appoint Giggs. Woodward is clueless as Pete. Love you, Mark, says David Gonzalez. Is this the third live stream, fam? Says Kaylan Roebuck. I didn't expect to be live tonight. I did not expect to be live at midnight tonight. But look, you know what? I'll be frank and honest. If Mourinho goes, will it surely mean the end of playing Fellaini in our midfield? That excites me. But look, you've got to be professional about something like this. And I can hardly talk. It's right to get rid of Mourinho, but my instant reaction, if I'm totally honest, was this is embarrassing. It is still embarrassing. It's still embarrassing that we've all got to accept another manager has failed if this is what happens. It is still embarrassing. You know, it's one thing saying this isn't good enough, the manager needs to go, but when it actually happens, you have that feeling of, well, there's no victory, and it is there. It's just like, you know, this wasn't meant to happen. Smash the like, everybody. I'm going to stay live, so keep liking the video. Respect to you, Mark, for the late show, says Disease Gaming. Well, a lot of people were talking about it, and that's what we're here for, isn't it? Who makes the decision to sack the board, says Harry Sullivan. Well, very simply, Harry, no one sacks the board. They own the club. To remove a board, look at the team we're playing tomorrow, Newcastle. This is what I mean. Mike Ashley has been in charge of Newcastle for how many years? They've wanted rid of him for how many years? Club greats like Alan Shearer have come out against Mike Ashley to try and oust him from the club. So Gary Neville coming out tonight and being anti the board is great, but it doesn't mean anything. The Manchester United are massive. They're not going to. They might have to ride a storm tomorrow. But if you know what, if Mourinho is sacked and Zidane does come in and we do start playing good football, no one will be talking about the board in 3 months' time. We'll be like, yes, this is what we wanted. Because, yeah, you know, the Glazer thing has never stopped. Most Manchester United fans hate the Glazers owning our club. It hasn't stopped us celebrating Premier League titles, Champions League, Europa Leagues. We celebrate that because it's all about what happens on the pitch. But we all know behind closed doors that we really don't want the Glazers in charge because they're just businessmen. But it will always be about what's going on the pitch. So Gary Neville can be furious, I can be furious, you can be furious about the board and what they're doing. But ultimately, if they bring the right manager in and we start challenging for the title and playing good football, we'll focus on that. We're not going to focus on that. It's just human nature. Right, we've had a super chat here from Caleb Hammond. He says, Ferguson said when he left, I never once played for a draw. When did we become defensive? When did we start playing for a draw? Well, I just hope whatever happens that we do get the decent football. That's what we crave at Manchester United, isn't it? That is what we crave, and I hope that's what we're going to get because that's what we deserve at Manchester United. We deserve decent football. If Mourinho leaves, surely it will be Zidane. We need a manager as well, says Darrow Berry. And what if the board keeps Mourinho and results improve drastically and we end up coming second again? Would you still want him to get the sack? Michael Johnson, look, I'm live tonight because there's massive rumours that Mourinho's leaving Manchester United. That's the only reason I'm live. If it looks like it's going to happen, that's what we're discussing about. If I still think, personally, because I haven't got the information other people have got, I've spoken to people and they're saying we've got the information, this is going to go. He's going to go. That's why he's in London tonight, rumoured, because he's sorting out his severance package and he will leave Manchester United. Maybe he won't even be in the dugout tomorrow night. I don't know. Maybe it'll be Michael Carrick. I don't know. To me, it seems stupid for Mourinho to walk out at United tomorrow if he's gone. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'll still stand by what my personal opinion is that if we beat Newcastle tomorrow, Jose Mourinho will stay in charge of Manchester United. That's what I think will still happen. But there's loads of stuff contrary to that it won't. It's really weird. I hear Alex Ferguson is a good manager, says Adam Wardle Show. Yeah, you can't get Sir Alex Ferguson back, as much as it would be fantastic. If it's according to reports, it's not true, says TTX Productions. Yes, you know what? There are lots of reports out there, and he's totally right. But actually, there's so much going on. I mean, I follow a select amount of people in relation to Manchester United news, and I purposely don't follow other things. And a lot of the people I sort of follow are concerned and worried that it is true. And some of them have come out, like Phil Brown, and said that it is true. So there you go. BMK TV says it shouldn't be happening. Harron Ash, I've already checked out James Ducker's Twitter. He's basically saying that Manchester United are yet to respond to comments on reports Jose will be sacked this weekend, or to suggestions that Mourinho and his agent George Mendes met Woodward in London on Friday, and this was why the press conference took usual time. The fact that they haven't come out and denied it is pretty... So some would say it's quite damning that the club haven't come out and denied it, to be honest. Who do you want to keep and sell in January, Marks? Is MUFC gossip? I don't really want to talk about stuff like that. But suffice to say, it's not very different to what I said in the summer. I wanted Fellaini to go. I think Scott McTominay needs to go on loan. I think we need to bring a combative, fast midfielder in place of Matic. I would keep Matic, but I think we need more legs. I want to see people like Martial starting. I want to see the best of Paul Pogba. I want to see Pereira starting, Fred starting. I'd like to bring a centre-back in like Skriniar. I don't think we're far off. With the right mentality. I don't think we're far off as a football club. It sounds like Mourinho may have been in London tonight with his agent talking to Ed Woodward. Why would he be doing that the night before a match? Is Mourinho in London? Has he been photographed in London? Seaside Wheelbarrow says Gary Neville's chances have gone. I don't think the class... I said that earlier, didn't I, on the Zidane show? If you've not seen the Zidane show, maybe go and watch it after this one. But I said that earlier, that Gary Neville and the class of 92, I don't think they've got much chance of being Manchester United manager under this regime anyway, because I don't think there's a lot of love there from either side. But that's just my opinion on it. I don't think he'd get banned from Old Trafford for it, to be honest. Keep Mourinho. We missed top four. Change manager. We'll still probably miss top four, says Chris Hill. You know what? If Mourinho does go, the next manager's going to have a hard job. They're going to have a hard job to turn this round, because Liverpool, Chelsea and City are on a roll. United's October is a bloody nightmare to come in. I mean, you've got to think about that. If Mourinho goes, and it's looking likely, if he goes, the next manager has got to take over the club, go to Chelsea, play Man City, play two legs against Juventus. It could get worse before it gets better, but then again, with the players we've got, inspired, attacking football, maybe it will suddenly go very, very well. I don't know. That's for another game. Big Wang says it must be legit. I don't think I've seen a show this late from the United stand. Look, all I would say about that is I wasn't going to do this show. I was like, oh, it's just paper talk. I'm not going to do it. And then people got in contact with me and they were like, you need to do this show. So let's see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks everybody for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. If anything happens in the morning, we'll obviously go live. I think that, and please do drop a like on the video. It'd be nice to get 1,000 likes at this late hour. If you're not watching live, get your comments in below. How are you feeling about this news? What's your initial reaction to this news? Because you can be Mourinho out, but are you angry with the board? Do you think it's right that Mourinho goes anyway at this stage? Do you think it should have been dependent on the Newcastle result? Are we right to act quickly? Do you think he will stay? Get your comments in below. Even if you're watching live, you can still leave a comment in below. And we will be back tomorrow for the game at 4:30 with the kickoff with the team news. But we might well be back before that, because I think if Jose Mourinho has decided to go, why would you manage Manchester United tomorrow? It doesn't make any sense. I think there could be something going on behind the scenes, and it may well be that Michael Carrick is in charge tomorrow with McKenna, in which case that would be very, very, very interesting. I don't see, if this is true, how Jose Mourinho can walk out at Old Trafford as our manager. I just don't see how that can happen, unless there's some stupid fantasy world where they've sorted out his severance and Ed Woodward and everyone has said, yeah, just walk him out for the last time tomorrow, get your farewell from the crowd. That would just be weird. It would just be weird. Anyway, thanks everyone. I did a video on Zidane about a couple of hours ago about how he's waiting for the Manchester United job. Looks like that might be right as well, so it might be worth going to give that a watch. But thanks everyone for watching. Get your comments in below. I'll see you tomorrow. Get some sleep. I think tomorrow's going to be a very, very interesting day and an interesting weekend for Manchester United, because even if we win, we're going to be waiting for him to go. If he goes, see you all soon. Unfucking believable, this club, innit?